Breaking, identity shift locker room. Tactics, drawn window. Today the tide turned in Santa Clara, a move that reshapes the receiver rotation. A familiar mind recalibrating the defense. An unlikely hero emerging at the exact second the season seemed to wobble, and a Trench's decision pointing straight at January. Nothing here is obvious, and each piece hides consequences that shuffle snaps, confidence, and ambition. Are we witnessing the first draft of a new 49ers identity? Stick with me, because the small headline might be the one that tilts the season. You won't believe what we've got today. So sit back, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. TVR Wadaroom, injury watch. Urgent signing, come a walk. With Jawan Jennings dealing with a shoulder injury and no firm timeline, the 49ers brought back a familiar face, Kendrick Bourne, on a short-term deal that screams urgency and fit. This isn't just replacement, it's an identity tweak. In Kyle Shanahan's system, receivers who separate on crossers and read windows between linebackers thrive. That's exactly where Bourne breathes. He returns fluent in the playbook and could, as soon as Sunday, soak up real snaps without the offense losing rhythm or spacing. Now picture the combinations. Jennings' absence takes away third down physicality and perimeter blocking that springs Christian McCaffrey. Bourne gives back part of that soul with precision on in-breakers and command of option concepts. Add Sky Moore in jet motion, Marquez Valdez-Scantling stretching the top already promoted to the 53, and Russell Gage as a situational chess piece. Important note, he's on the practice squad and was elevated for week 1, so his role is week to week based on game plan. The ripple effect is immediate. Safeties back off, corners hesitate in press, and Ricky Pearsall steps into the spotlight as the temporary WR1, while Brandon Ayuk works back from the knee and the staff manages risk. When the defense spreads, Shanahan chooses the poison, a dig against soft zone, a glance versus single high or outside zone with the late cutback. Bourne helps put the defense in a dilemma on the opening series. Crowden's Tonka 20, Rai Kimmich, or is also the tight end variable, with George Kittle nursing a hamstring. Early estimates put him in the 2 to 3 week window. The offensive engineering toggles between lighter 11 personnel and doses of 21, using Kyle Juszczyk to steal leverage outside. In that picture, McCaffrey becomes the relief valve, and on many snaps, the emergency almost WR2 screens flats and slants into soft spots. And here via the precise correction the diehards will want. He caught 9 passes in week 1, not 7. Bourne's job is to give the drive its first click. Keep the offense on schedule. Let Purdy trust the break point and move the chains. On 3rd and 6, he doesn't need a highlight. He needs a conversion. That's how you kill variance and control field position. And the fan base split between nostalgia and pragmatism. Some remember Bourne's knack for the timely grab. Others see WR3 numbers and demand more pop. Context is king. In September, time is scarce, and the locker room needs someone who speaks Shanahan without a tutorial. At 30, Bourne adjusts his split, varies his depth, and knows how to settle into a window without inviting a safety to detonate him. This isn't training camp hype. It's Sunday blue-collar work that raises the offense's floor and trades short punts for points. With him, Purdy gains a safety button without losing aggression. Immediate ripple effects. More engaged become matchup-specific weapons. MVS keeps the defense honest deep, and Pearsall gets the money routes for real volume. If Ayuk returns down the line, what's safe today becomes luxury. 4 complementary profiles plus McCaffrey as the equalizer. Looking for a move that reduces uncertainty without neutering explosiveness? It just happened. Oh. And that isn't even the wildest storyline of the week. The change wasn't limited to the offense. On the other side of the ball, the impact was even more symbolic. Robert Saleh's return to the defensive helm is not a nostalgia play, it's a systems reset. After the 2024 slippage against the run and a year of coordinator churn, Steve Wilks out after 1 season, Nick Sorensen unable to stabilize things. The front office brought back the architect who forged the Niners' defensive identity from 2017 to 2020. The immediate return, a statement. Seattle managed just 13 points. The tape shows discipline, communication, and 2 timely takeaways, including the game-sealing punch-out in the red zone. What stands out is how Saleh moved the chess pieces for an opponent that wanted the ball out quickly. Knowing Sam Darnold's average time to throw would hover around the quick game sweet spot, 2.59 seconds in this one. The plan was to choke off the short grass, rally and tackle, and make Seattle live in 2nd and long. Youngsters like Renardo Green on the outside and D. Winters at linebacker played like vets, brimming with a confidence that flows straight from the headset. Fred Warner, the fulcrum of the unit, didn't hide it in the postgame. This is a coordinator who aligns your mind with the call sheet before the ball is snapped. That synergy shows up in the small things. Linebackers fitting the right gaps, the front eliminating cutback lanes, the secondary driving on outbreakers without panicking. Nick Bosa admitted he could feel Saleh's nerves before kickoff. New faces, new roles, but framed it as the same obsession with perfecting assignments that powered their first run together. Even without a second premier name next to Bosa on the line, the group snuffed out early run success and squeezed explosives. That's not just talent, it's technique repped into muscle memory. And Saleh's value isn't confined to Sundays. He sets arcs for players. Dimador Lenoir talked about a preseason conversation that reframed his CB1 mindset. You see the results. Eyes disciplined, hands legal, confidence loud. When a coordinator's voice is that clear, a young defense can play fast without living in busted coverages. If you want the full picture, fold in situational mastery. Third down, Seattle struggled to get to their menu. Red zone, hungry front forced the decisive mistake. That's identity, not luck. And it travels. The fans felt the echo of 2020 in the way 11 hats flew to the ball. Inside the locker room, the vibe is even stronger. The biggest addition of the offseason wasn't a player, it was a coach who knows exactly how to turn their personnel into a living, breathing structure. If this is the week one baseline, imagine where the ceiling goes, when rotations settle and communication tightens. Hold that thought, because the most cinematic moment came from a name almost nobody had circled. The tight score in Seattle looked like a familiar script. A rugged divisional game on the road, hostile crowd, injuries stacking. That's when a name that was practically invisible in the offense until Sunday stepped forward. Jake Tonges, who had third-string tight end with 0 career regular season catches, becomes the closer on their bingo card. With 1:34 left, Brock Purdy rifled a throw that turned into Tonges' first career touchdown, and the improbable became the win. The hush inside Lumen Field, a soundtrack the faithful won't forget. The beauty of the moment isn't just the score, it's the years behind it. Tonges lived on preparation, scout team grind, special teams snaps, mental reps that rarely become targets. In Seattle, the door cracked open because George Kittle left with a hamstring, and Tonges sprinted through it. 3 catches for 15 yards doesn't start debates on sports talk shows. One of them sealing the game does. He didn't just keep San Francisco alive, he said something about the culture. The next man isn't just ready, he's trusted. With Kittle projected to miss a couple of weeks, the rotation doesn't have to collapse. It can evolve. The backstory makes it sweeter. Tonges grew up less than half an hour from Levi's Stadium, played at Cal, and knows the Bay like the back of his hand. He went undrafted, landed with the Bears, bounced off a 53, spent time on a practice squad, and could have become another footnote. But Shanahan prizes players who understand the system and don't flinch when the temperature spikes. This was a high-leverage audition, and Tonges nailed it. In a game where the line had its shaky stretches and the receiver room was patched together, the offense found a trustworthy target in the tightest window of the night. Here's why it matters beyond Sunday. Without Kittle, Purdy needs a quick trigger option over the middle. Someone to sit down in the short zones and blunt the burden on Ricky Pearsall and Kendrick Bourne. Tonges can be that safety piece, letting the machine keep humming without forcing McCaffrey to shoulder every short area target. And yes, precise again, McCaffrey had 9 receptions for 73 yards, plus 69 on the ground. Workhorse numbers with surgical value when the game turned choppy. With Tonges earning trust, the playbook breathes. Shanahan can keep defenses honest in 11 personnel, sprinkle in 12 when health allows, and maintain the illusion of complexity even with stars in street clothes. The reaction from the fan base was instant and loud. That's 49ers football next man up flooded timelines. Others pointed out how often real NFL roles are born in desperate minutes. Will Tonges settle in as a steady second tight end or be a one-night story? Too early to know, but the 2025 theme after week 1 is already clear. This roster finds answers in unexpected corners. They refused to blink when the script got tight, and they rewarded a grinder who's been preparing for years for exactly this snap. Keep that in your pocket as we shift to a headline that won't trend on social, but might quietly decide how far this team can go. While the euphoria still echoed, another story shook the foundation: Colton McKivitz's extension. It might look like a simple financial move, but the impact runs to the core of how this team wins in January. 3 years, $45 million, $27 million guaranteed. Translation: right tackle is no longer a patch, it's a plan. McKivitz barely played his first 3 seasons after arriving as a 5th rounder, then stepped into Mike McGlinchey's old chair and took the heat that comes with it. The early film was bumpy, the improvement since has been real. The front office took the long view and chose continuity now instead of a bidding war later. Context matters here too. The market for solid offensive tackles isn't gentle. Dan Moore Jr. squat 4 years and roughly $82 million from Tennessee, north of $20 million per year in rear. And Jalen Moore, who once provided depth in Santa Clara, landed 2 years and $30 million from the Chiefs this spring. Important correction, he's a Kansas City player, not a 49er, and we're using him purely as a league-wide Against that backdrop, McKivitz at $15 million per year becomes both a bet on continued growth and a guardrail against the chaos that comes when you let your edge blocker walk and hope the draft falls your way. It also plants a flag. This staff believes its system plus steady ascending OL play is enough to keep the offense on schedule while the skill talent does the flashing. The depth chart context is honest. Trent Williams is ageless, but nobody plays forever. The interior has moving parts. Dominic Pooney is a long-term building block. Ben Barch is on an expiring deal. Young names like Connor Colby and Drew Moss are developmental swings you hope hit, not day-one lifeline. Locking down right tackle now buys time to solve center and the eventual left tackle succession without gambling the current window. In Shanahan's world, outside zone and play action feed one another. If the edges hold up, the quarterback's sight lines are cleaner, the boots have teeth, and third and manageable shows up more often. Fans notice the message hidden inside the money. Finally, some love for the dirty work. One comment said because this roster's glamour is usually the McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk axis. Others fairly pointed out that questions remain, especially at center and long-term at LT, but read the move as a necessary first brick. You don't fix an offensive line with one pen stroke, but you can stop the bleeding and build in layers. McKivitz isn't a headline grabber. He's the kind of steady-state presence that keeps a 12-play drive alive when the crowd is frothing and the margins are thin. Big picture, that's the through line of the week. Targeted moves that raise the floor while you wait for stars to heal and chemistry to mature. Bourne returns to a language he already speaks and buys time for Ayuk. Saleh restores the defensive grammar that vanished last year and teaches the kids to play fast without fear. Tonges turns preparation into points and gives Purdy precious interior answers while Kittle mends. McKivitz's deal says the franchise won't wait for the offseason market to dictate its future in the trenches. Put it all together and you have a team that looks less like it's scrambling and more like it's steering. So tell me, is this the start of a new golden run in San Francisco or just a great first chapter? Drop your take in the comments, hit subscribe, smash that like, and share this with the friend who celebrates the highs and still holds the team accountable in the lows. Around here, we live the 49ers intensely every single day.